Hello my fellow chef knives enthusiasts. Today I have something very special for you. 3 Honyaki knives made by Go Yoshizawa from Nigara. To be honest, I actually didn't even know that Go Yoshizawa, the 8th generation blacksmith at Nigara, was making Honyaki knives in the first place. So when I visited the showroom of Meesterslijpers the other day, I was so happily surprised to unbox these 3 beautiful Honyaki blades. And needless to say, I'm very thankful to Rene for borrowing them to me so I could make this really nice unboxing video for you guys and showing these blades up close and personal. So without further ado, let's see what's inside of these boxes. Wow, wow. Just opening these boxes and just seeing these handles staring at me is already like, wow. These are some really beautiful handles, man. Just these materials. This is probably some stabilized wood of some kind and dyed. This is amazing. I didn't even unveil the blades yet and I'm already, my jaw is already freaking on the table. Like, wow, these handles are stunning. For me, Nigara almost always knocks it out of the ballpark when it comes to pairing their knives with the appropriate type of handle. All their Hamon knives, all their rainbow knives, they all come with this beautiful murdered out dark ebony handles. But these troll killers, like my troll killer, has an amazingly and a stunning handle as well. It's very special actually. But these handles, come on man. Just these 3 handles would already be so much fun to unbox today. But of course, these handles are attached to Honyaki blades, so let's go on with that and see what these handles are actually attached to. Let's start with this first one. It's the Nigara Hamono white number 1. So it's made of Shirogami number 1. Honyaki, it's a Yanagiba and it's 300 millimeters. Let's go. Wow! Of course, I already unboxed them at the showroom, but then I was a little bit distracted. I was there with Rene and Berend and amongst all these other beautiful knives, and it was just like having a quick look at them. To see this knife now here once again in the comfort of my own home, up close and personal, no distractions, just me and the Hamon. This is something else. What a pleasure and honor it is to have these knives right in front of me. So, okay, let's go to the next one. Like it is nothing. This is the Nigara Hamono blue number 2, Honyaki Kiritsuke Yanagiba, 300 millimeters as well. Wow. Holy shit. Wow, this is something special. This is something special. Something really special is going on here. This Hamon line is, I mean, we're just talking about a line here. You know, it's just a line, but this is not just a line. This is a Hamon line. If you know what it takes to make a Honyaki blade, what this Hamon line symbolizes in the process of making the steel, making the blades, then you know this is something really special. First of all, I've never seen a Hamon like this before, as in pure aesthetically, the shape of the lines, the fact that it has a double Hamon line, but also it seems like this blade is edged. This is not a mirror polished blade like a lot of Honyaki blades are. This has this matte finish as well, which gives this knife such a beautiful look. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I can't come up with better words than wow right now. I know I'm not very original at the moment. But what can you say? This is... And this is just the second one. I already need a timeout. How can I... There is another one that Okay, well, somebody has to do it, I guess, huh? Might as well be me. Anyway, so this, the third one. The Nigara Hamono Blue number 2 Honyaki Sakimaru Yanagiba 300 millimeters. Oh, I forgot. Oh my god, I forgot about this one. Holy shit. Look at this. I mean, Go Yoshizawa, what a guy. What? When I'm cooking as a private chef for people, I serve them 5 courses. They are sitting there in their home with their friends or family or their loved ones, and they are having a good time talking with each other. And it's always really nice that if I serve them then one of my dishes, then suddenly the whole table gets quiet and they just sit there at the table enjoying the food. Silence is probably the best compliment you can get as a chef. These knives, they make me silent. I just want to sit here and appreciate what I see in complete silence. Words should only be used to improve the silence. Get it? In case you are like me wondering how the heck they make these Honyaki knives with those beautiful Hamon lines, or perhaps you just straight up asking yourself what the heck a Honyaki knife is in the first place, welcome to the club. I did a little bit of homework for myself just to get myself a little bit familiar with the subject, and will try to concisely and clearly share the information I've gathered. Honyaki literally translates to true fired. Japanese Honyaki kitchen knives are the world's ultimate kitchen utensils. Honyakis are also the most expensive Japanese knives on the market.
Why are Honyaki knives so expensive?
Honyaki knives are the closest thing to the traditional katana samurai sword of ancient Japan. A single, uniformly high carbon steel is carefully heated and hammered into shape. They carry some of the most distinct markings and characteristics of this ancient trade. The process is as close to the ancient art of Japanese sword making as you are going to get. Honyaki knives are therefore the most difficult to make knives and are forged by only the most senior, experienced artisans of Japan's top knife making workshops. In order to make a Honyaki knife, you have to become a master first. There are very few people in Japan that are actively producing Honyaki blades, primarily in the city of Sakai. I for sure can't name more than 5 makers in Japan that are producing Honyaki blades, and most of them are quite old. For example, Master Kenji Togashi is approaching his 70s, and Master Yoshikazu Ikeda is about 85. So production rate is not as high. As far as I know, Sukenari, Masukuni and Watanabe are the only non-Sakai makers that produce Honyaki knives you can actually buy.
But Nigara is located in Hirosaki. So Go Yoshizawa is the 4th non-Sakai maker that produces Honyaki knives that you know of.
You're right, as always. So, because of the extremely high level of skills required of the blacksmith, there are only a handful of blacksmiths making top quality Honyaki knives. Equals expensive. Honyaki knives are made of a single pure steel that is selected, forged and hammered by only the most skilled artisans and entirely by hand. Forging a Honyaki blade from a single piece of steel is a lot more difficult than a cladded material because how hard the steel is. Using only the best steel throughout the entirety of the blade makes the cost of production high from the start. Equals expensive. The core, face and edge of a Honyaki blade is comprised from non-laminated, a unified single steel. Therefore, they are sometimes referred to as monosteel blades. The goal is to produce a sharper, longer-lasting edge than is usually achievable with the lamination method, like sunmine knives. The heat treatment makes Honyaki knives different from any other kitchen knife, especially when they are quenched. Quenching is when a blacksmith heats up steel to a precise temperature and dunks the hot blade in either water or oil, which hardens the steel. Instead of evenly coating the blade with clay, like when quenching awase, kasumi or sunmai knives, the blacksmiths put a thin layer close to the edge and a thicker layer of clay on the spine. This causes the edge to achieve the high temperature necessary to quench before the spine does. This is called differential heat quenching. This process leaves the spine softer than the edge and able to act as a cushion like the lamination does in other knives. A line forms in the steel where the clay thickness differs and is called the Hamon. Because this technique was used by swordsmiths, kitchen knife makers named the process Honyaki from the words honmono, meaning genuine, and yakire, meaning quench. Oil quenching Honyaki, abura Honyaki, is more common than water quenching, mizu Honyaki, as the latter requires even more skills and experience. Oil quench Honyaki has a lower failure rate because oil is not as dramatic as water in terms of rapid temperature change. Master Togashi once said that the failure rate is about 40 to 50%, and the vigor goes even higher on a bad day. Whether water quenched or oil quenched, the uniform composition of Honyaki knives makes them the hardest blades available for kitchen use. Honyaki knives offer unmatched level of hardness throughout the blade. It is the hardness that allows for the thinnest, steepest angle edges, resulting in the absolute sharpest cut possible. One can basically heat treat one Honyaki blade at a time, where cladded knives and stainless knives can go into a heat treatment machine in bigger batches. As a result, blacksmiths love to make cladded knives because the turnaround time is a lot quicker than Honyaki, and they simply can make more money because even Honyaki is relatively expensive to a cladded knife, it is still not worth the trouble for many makers. Same goes for the sharpening. It takes a lot longer to rough shape and sharpen a Honyaki than a cladded knife. Due to the high hardness of the Honyaki, the blade is very brittle and sometimes just fails during sharpening, or even after shipped to the customer. Due to the high heat, difficult quenching methods, and the lack of forgiveness or any sort of flexibility of these monosteel blades, even the best and most experienced knife makers lose many to cracks and breaks along the way. And they don't just break, they break after a large chunk of the work was already done. I once saw a picture of a 450mm Honyaki Yanagiba by late master Tatsuo Ikeda. It was a finished blade with mirror polishing, engraving, and even a handle installed. Yet it had a fracture from the middle of the blade, rendering the entire knife become a reject. Imagine all the effort that went into producing this knife and ended being a waste. The knife factories still have to pay for all these. Yes, it is a tradition. So naturally everything goes into the cost calculation formula, which drives prices up even further as the rarity of the Honyaki knives increases with every broken blade. Equals expensive. The unmatched hardness a successful forge is able to produce also comes with great responsibility. Maintenance of a Honyaki blade is made much more complicated by the fact that they are highly reactive and susceptible to rust and other corrosion. That's because Honyaki steel is pure in the sense that they do not include the chromium alloy that makes a steel a stainless steel. Sharpening a Honyaki could take hours and should be done on Japanese natural whetstones only. The stiffness of a Honyaki blade means that it will cut meat or vegetables with a slice unlike anything you have ever felt or seen. Their incredible stiffness means that they will not bend or give way to irregular pressure. One drop from the counter would crack or even break these knives in two. Thus the added pressure that comes with owning a Honyaki negates many of the benefits. Honyaki knives are the pinnacle of Japanese knife making, that's for sure. Many of the world's top chefs have opted for the traditional Honyaki knives for their incredible cutting ability as well as the honor of owning one of these exclusive knives. Honyaki is not only just a simple piece of sharp steel, it is a true functional art that reflects the extremely high quality of craftsmanship of the blacksmith, the sharpener and the handle maker. Honyaki knives aren't prone to bending or warping as steel ages and contracts. The finished knife is incredibly hard, making it sharper than most other knives, even those made of similar materials. So all these things already explain to a certain extent why most Honyaki knives are 3 to 4 times more expensive than non-Honyaki knives. But one of the biggest reasons, as we now understand, is that differential heat quenching is much more difficult to perform and perfect. This different expansion rate in one piece of steel will cause a blade to crack, but when it is finished properly and a Hamon is exposed, Honyaki are perhaps the most beautiful knives you will ever see. I imagine sushi chefs love to have a set of nice Honyaki knives to reflect their dedication to the industry and to impress their customers. Collectors and knife enthusiasts like me would love to own a piece that represents the best of their admired craftsmen. The extreme craftsmanship, rarity, cost and maintenance required by Honyaki blades might make their purchase difficult to justify by those of us not working at a Michelin-starred omakase restaurant. Honyaki knives are quite limited in supply because they are so hard to make. So true Honyaki knives are never mass produced. Better yet, fewer than 1% of the knives in Japan are Honyaki forged. Do not expect to find one with a reduced or suspiciously low price tag for all the blood, sweat and tears their best artisans have poured into these knives. Even the most desperate shop won't part with their Honyaki knives at discounted price. If the price seems too good to be true, it definitely is. Which of these 3 knives is my favorite? Let's start with the handles. For sure I'm liking all 3 handles, but I do like the blue handle of the Sakimaru the best, I think. It just has amazing patterns. Come on, this is just a gorgeous handle. This handle, definitely beautiful. No, I actually, as much as I do love this blue handle, I actually like this handle even more. There is just a little bit more going on, but not too much. I love this little detail here. So I changed my mind. The handle of the Yanagiba is my favorite. Although this handle is definitely not ugly. I don't like the contrast, the hard contrast of the light wood and the black here. I like the more subtle contrast on these handles better. So when it comes to handles, this one is my favorite. This one is my second favorite. And this is my third favorite. Then we go to the shape of the knife. For sure I'm liking the shape of the Sakimaru the best. I like the gentle curve of the spine, and I especially love the Sakimaru tip. Next to having a steel forged in the same way as a samurai sword, you actually have a shape that is most similar to a samurai sword. So for me this is a no-brainer. This Sakimaru profile is definitely my favorite. My second favorite is this Kengata style or K-tip style Yanagiba. It's as well a beautiful tip, very aggressive, very stabby. But the straight profile is not as striking to me as the Sakimaru profile. So this is my second favorite. leaving the Yanagiba as my third favorite. I mean, there is nothing wrong with this profile. It's beautiful, but focusing on the tip. Sakimaru my favorite, Kengata my second favorite, normal Yanagiba my third favorite. And then, which Hamon do I like the best of these three knives? As much as I like the traditional, just wavy Hamon, I truly appreciate Go Yoshizawa for creating a different style of Hamon. Boy, this is tough. I like them all, but if I have to choose, the Hamon of the Kengata Yanagiba or the Yanagiba with a K-tip, this Hamon is definitely my favorite. I love that you really clearly see the Hamon line going all over the blades, over the spine, over the choil, so you can really see where the clay was put. I love how the Hamon line is consisting out of almost two lines. I just like the randomness of this line. It kind of makes me think of smoke coming off a cigarette when you just leave it there in the ashtray. It's like this beautiful amorphe shape. I do love this Hamon line a lot. And I also like how Go Yoshizawa decided to not mirror polish these knives, but leave them this kind of matte finish. Anyway, this was about the Hamon. It's almost impossible to choose between these Hamons. They're all really pretty, all really beautifully done. So yeah, my second I think is the Sakimaru. The Hamon on the Sakimaru. Boy, this is something different. Because I think we might just have put maybe 3 layers of clay on there. As in, there's clearly this first line. But then you have this kind of second line. It's almost like he put 3 layers of clay in there. I'm not a blacksmith and I don't know a lot about metallurgy. But yeah, this Hamon is really special and I've never seen something like this before. It goes for all 3 of them actually, but somehow this one to me seems the most impressive or the most difficult to make. I don't know why, it's just a gut feeling. I'm not an expert. It just looks like it is the most difficult. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe it doesn't matter at all. For him, probably not that much. Or maybe it does, I don't know. My second favorite. Leaves the Yanagiba as my third favorite Hamon. It's not that I find this one ugly, definitely not. I think I like a Hamon better if it shows more contrast. Now this one is almost like a cladding line instead of a Hamon to me. I do find it interesting. It looks almost like the clay was very watery, as in you don't have like a clear line on this one. If you look at the Kasumi finish on this Jiro, you know what I mean? I do respect Go Yoshizawa a lot for, doing something different and trying to create different styles of Hamons. So in summary, my favorite handle, the Yanagiba handle. Second one, the Sakimaru handle. Third one, the Kengata handle. Profile, my favorite, Sakimaru. My second favorite, Kengata. My third favorite, Yanagiba. And then the Hamon, my favorite, the Kengata. My second favorite, the Sakimaru, and my third favorite, the Yanagiba. So, the Yanagiba ends on the last place 2 times. It's my least favorite profile and least favorite Hamon, but it has my favorite handle on it. The Sakimaru, 2 second places and 1 first place. The Kengata, 1 third place, 1 first place, and 1 second place. According to these statistics, I think the Sakimaru kind of wins. But let me try something different. Let me just imagine out of these 3 blades in front of me and all the options I'm seeing here, what would be my ideal dream knife? Mix and match all the elements of all 3 knives I have over here. Then my favorite choice would be the profile and shape of the Sakimaru with the samurai sword tip, with the Hamon of the Kengata and the handle of the Yanagiba. So shape of the Sakimaru, Hamon of this Kengata and the handle of this Yanagiba. And I would actually spend 3 months rent on a knife, people. I asked Rene if he could give me an indication what would be the retail prices of these knives. These blades will cost around 3,100 euro. So this is more than 9,000 euros altogether if you would buy all three of them, which is insane. It's a lot of money for knives, but yeah, I hope you now understand why these knives are this expensive. And I should also mention that this Sakimaru and this Kengata, both of these knives are already reserved. So if you are interested in one of these three knives, then the only choice left is the Yanagiba, with my favorite handle, but my least favorite Hamon and profile. So yeah, if you have around 3,000 euro burning in your pocket and you're looking for a beautiful Honyaki knife, then make sure to head over to Meesterslijpers, Knife World's website, or contact them and see if it's still available. But these two beautiful knives are already reserved and probably sold. Reserved, I think, means that Rene is holding them back for some of his loyal customers, or I don't know, some lucky dudes, I guess, and give them some time to save up for the money. But yeah, so these are not available anymore. So you saw them here first, and you can only see them here because these are already sold. Sorry guys. So to wrap this up, I guess this was my attempt of a crash course into the world of Honyaki knives. I guess we have reached the end of this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. See you all around as we buy our groceries and continue our lives of farting, sleeping, laughing, forgetting someone's name, birthday or medication, ordering stuff online, putting a knife into a box and then forgetting where we put it as we do our things together on this earth. Let's all remember that as difficult and confusing as life can be, at least we know that there are cool Japanese masters out there making amazing kitchen knives.